Hey again. Backstory really quick, just so you can understand what I'm going to say here in a second. My mom had been to the hospital several times, like 3 or 4 times before this last time, and each time a lot of the people that were taking care of her would attribute the things that she was there for to her mitochondrial myopathy. And that, you can tell me that as many times as you want to, and I don't believe that one bit. Anyway, she would fall and break her hip. Then she'd end up with pneumonia and then on a ventilator. And then they would say, oh, she's on the ventilator because of her mitochondrial myopathy. No. And then they'd be like, oh, well, it's taking her so long to get off the ventilator because of her mitochondrial myopathy. Yeah, that's probably a good assumption. But it's not the reason she even came in. That's not the reason she was on the ventilator. Don't care what you say. Several times that these things happened where she always ended up on the ventilator, barely coming off, is what has led me up to the way that I felt when she started to go downhill this last time. My mom called me one day asking if I could come over because she needed help. She had fallen trying to get out of bed. Went over there and she was still on the floor, and I helped her back up, and she said she don't know what happened. She don't know how long she was down there. She fell trying to get out of bed, and it felt like her legs kept falling out from underneath her. I helped her to the living room. She didn't have any issues on the way to the living room. She was talking to me. There was a few things that she was acting kind of confused. She knew she was confused, and she was like, I know I'm not making any sense right now, but then she would rattle something off, telling me about her doctor's appointments and stuff that she had coming up and everything. So, I mean, she was with it, but she wasn't with it at the same time. She said she tried to call her doctor because she thought it had something to do with the medication that she was on, but they wouldn't return her phone calls. So I called them myself, left a message. He didn't call back, so I called him again, and I got a hold of somebody, I believe that time. I don't remember. They made her an appointment, and it wasn't for that day. I told her I would take her to the ER if she wanted to go. She did not want to go. That's my mom. I didn't really want to take her because I didn't want her to have to go through all this stuff again where I knew she'd end up back at the hospital and back on a ventilator and repeat cycle, right? I called Jace because Araya had practice. So he came over and he hung out with her while I took her to practice and came back. And then whenever I got back, I came in and she was sleeping in the chair. She woke up and she wanted to go to the bathroom, which normally she can do totally independently. And she stood up, and when she stood up, it was like somebody was behind her and kicked her in the back of the knees. You know what I mean? Where she just went limp. It was like a spaghetti noodle. So I helped her to the bathroom. That was a disaster. The whole time that she was going, like every 5-6 steps, she would be like a spaghetti noodle again, and I'd have to catch her whole body weight to keep her from hitting the ground. So I called my aunt. She agreed to come over and spend the night with her. I went home after she came over and everything was fine. And then the next day I got a phone call saying that they had to call the ambulance because when she was just totally off the wall, like she wasn't making any sense. She was trying to fight her whenever she would wake her up. She was like a noodle completely, like not even standing up. Like she'd pull her up in the bed and she'd just flop back down. She was clearly way worse. So we took her to Jennings Hospital and they were great. Found out she had a UTI and that her calcium was high. They did some scans. Those came back okay. They were going to keep her there, but insisted that because of her history that she needed to be transferred back to either Seymour or Columbus. And because Columbus knows, her history and all that so well, I told him to probably go back to Columbus. So that's what we did. I stayed with her in Columbus and I kept an eye on her monitor all night. I was awake all night. Her heart rate dropped down. Pretty sure the lowest I saw it was in the 30s. If you don't know, a normal heart rate is between 60 and 100. Hers at one point dropped down into the 30s. For a while, it was high 40s, mid 50s, and the nurse kept coming in there. She was like, what's going on here? And I'm like, she's been complaining to her doctor that she's been having these episodes where her Apple Watch would go off because her heart rate was so low. And she told him about it and was told, oh, okay, well, yeah, we'll worry about it when it gets a little bit lower. I didn't know about this at the time. So when it dropped down 39 or whatever it was, the doctor comes in to get everything, ready to transfer her over to ICU, because apparently after they checked her lab values, her thyroid level was through the roof, like lethal levels. The plan was to get her transferred over to ICU at Columbus until St. Francis had their bed open. Transferred her over to ICU. She was in ICU for a few hours, and then the ambulance came and got her and took her to St. Francis, or Franciscan, whichever. Just as a side note, my mom had never had any issues with her thyroid that we knew of. This was all new to us. According to the doctor at Columbus, this should have been caught long ago. And it wasn't. So, and the fact that it was so high and off the charts, undetected for so long, is crazy to me. But, so she goes to St. Francis, Franciscan, and she gets a lot better there. Within a few days, she was back to her normal self, still weak. So we knew that she needed to be transferred to a rehab center just long enough to get her muscles back up and going, because, especially with her muscle disease, it takes a toll on her when she's not up doing her normal things. So decided to get her transferred to Seymour Crossing Nursing Home for rehab. My aunt works there, my other aunt, and so we felt better about her being there because, for obvious reasons, we knew somebody there and we knew she'd be taken care of. She wasn't even there a week and she was back to her normal self. In fact, she looked better than she had looked in a long time. It's weird because I got a text message with a survey link attached to it for Seymour Crossing, and I had gotten this link the day before she passed away. And there are some things that I'll go into on the next video probably about the things that I actually want to get accomplished with this project, the things that I want to get changed. And when I got this link, I was like, there are some things about this place that I think need to be changed. I'm not just singling them out. This is about everywhere, even places that my mom wasn't at. Like, this is for healthcare as a whole. But anyway, I got this link and I thought, there's some things I'd like to say, but I don't want to say it in a mean way because I don't mean it in a mean way. And so I waited and I thought about it, and I really, really thought about what I wanted to say. And I filled out the form that night. It was like 10 something that night. And then the next morning I was working and I got a phone call, and it was from a Seymour number. And so I thought maybe they were calling me about this survey and they wanted to talk to me about it. So I almost didn't answer it. And then when I did, it wasn't anyone about the survey. It was telling me, I'm sorry, but your mom had a heart attack and died. Something totally not expected at all, and I believe could have been prevented. Anyways, sorry these are so long, but it's a long story. I'm getting to the things that need to be changed and the things that I found out now that I've gotten through that whole thing. So if you want to help raise awareness for these things, please fill out the forms that I'm linking, and thank you to those who have already done so. I really appreciate it.